Well, with the election over, Wall Street, largely banking on Mitt Romney to win, resonated with a market-dropping thud. Well, what's next? Will investors grudgingly take money off the sidelines and pump it back into the economy? Here to share some insight on that is John Boyd Jr., principal of the Boyd Company. And you guys actually specialize in helping companies reinvest here. What's the landscape as you see it?
Right. Well, Brian, the number one thing that is a deterrent for businesses taking money off the sidelines and investing in new projects and new jobs is uncertainty. And now that business can prepare for 4 more years of Obama, they can begin preparing for additional taxes and some of the costs associated with additional regulations like Dodd-Frank and healthcare reform. So we see some new projects, particularly in a number of new growth industries over the next 4 years.
Now, which industries are those, and where do you see them taking place?
The first industry I would identify is logistics. This, of course, has to do with the rise of online retail and the move away from brick and mortar traditional retail operations. So companies are relying on traditional warehouse ways to sell their goods. This is further accelerated by the Panama Canal expansion, which is going to increase container traffic up and down our East Coast ports. So markets like Norfolk, Savannah, even here in New Jersey, the ports of Bayonne and Newark are going to create opportunities for new distribution projects.
Interesting.
Another industry would be data security. And this is fueled by government mandates, particularly with financial services and healthcare.
Well, yeah, when you've got to have the, what they call it, the patient privacy, those kinds of things. And we've seen a lot of data breach stories, one after another, so I would imagine that's going to be huge.
Right, and roughly only, believe it or not, only 45% of our nation's healthcare records are currently electronic. So clearly there's a lot of growth on the horizon for data security.
Okay. Now, as far as creating jobs for young folks, and that's one of the elements that we've talked about a lot in the last year. Young folks don't really have a lot of places to go. Do you see that changing?
Right. 4 months after the election, there's going to be 4 million college graduates. So the question is, where will these kids find jobs? And the biggest area is obviously software development, and this has to do with the data security industry, but also online gaming. As more cash-strapped cities and states turn to online gaming as a way to increase revenue, this opens the door for new multiplier industries like software development, server farm equipment, et cetera.
So the tech industries are going to be huge here.
Right.
Are we going to see much more development in telecommunications? I've seen a lot of development in cell phone, I guess, enhancement, if you will.
Sure.
Is that part of the picture?
Sure. Yeah, and all of those industries really tie into data security. Sure, it's an industry that even traditional customer service centers are coming back to the U.S. because of increased costs in China and India, and also qualitative concerns about doing business in those countries.
You make a distinction between qualitative and quantitative factors. Explain what that means.
Right. Well, we always say that corporate site selection is both a science and an art. I mean, the science has to do with comparing tax structures in different states. The artistry really looks at some of the softer issues: access to healthcare, access to premier intellectual capital, and some of the cultural amenities that corporations want when deciding to invest in one city versus another.
Things that are going to attract your employees.
Yes.
Okay. And I would imagine the weather plays into part of that?
Right. And certain industries obviously are more sensitive to the weather. Obviously, the agricultural sector, which is booming right now because of free trade agreements and China's insatiable appetite for American farm products. Agriculture is booming right now, but agricultural products place a premium upon irrigated markets like Central Washington State. Quincy, for example, is on the radar screen like never before. With data security, you want to be in markets that are insulated from natural disasters. That's why the Midwest cities like Sioux Falls, South Dakota have attracted a lot of mega data centers over the last several years.
I wonder, I remember the last time you were here, we were talking about Georgia attracting a lot of business. For some reason, they seem to be very attractive. What's going on in the South?
Well, there's a certain common denominator among states that are attracting manufacturing jobs, especially advanced manufacturing, avionics, for example. And these are states with positive business climates, right-to-work states: Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina. Just yesterday, North Carolina attracted Herbalife facility, $100 million manufacturing plant. And again, that is a signal of business taking money off of the sidelines, preparing for the next 4 years, and investing in new brick and mortar operations.
Is that where we're seeing, perhaps, for lack of a better word, the demise of the unions or the weakening of union influence?
We've seen that for quite some time. Over the past 30 years, the role of unions has declined, and there's been a move of manufacturing away from the states like Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin towards less regulated right-to-work states in the South.
I want to get back to the president's policies because we know that business has been, watching with some reluctance about his policies in terms of raising rates and things like that. But on the flip side, you still have companies coming back to America.
We do, and one of the things that we like about President Obama is investing in infrastructure, and this really shows he's committed to the U.S.'s role in buying and sharing goods with the rest of the world, and making our ports deeper, fixing our highways. Investments in our nation's infrastructure is critical to the U.S. being able to compete nationally. The other thing is natural gas, and we have abundant natural gas resources. Harnessing that natural gas using hydrofracking will not only create jobs here at home, but lower utility costs and make our manufacturers more competitive globally.
Let's hope you're right, John. Always insightful to have you on.
Thank you.
All right.